After holding my breath for a short while, my soul floated in midair. I heard my mother-in-law plop down on the ground, crying and wailing, saying the doctor killed her precious grandson. She had always thought that I was carrying a daughter. Seeing Jason Jong crying loudly while holding my corpse, tears and snot covered my face. Mom hurried over, cried for a while, then pulled and argued with the doctor with her mother-in-law, demanding the hospital pay 1 million yuan, 1 million. So it turns out my life is worth that much. A voice sounded in my ear, you should go reincarnate now, but I really don't want to give up. Why has my life come to this? Do you want to live again? I do. Suddenly, consciousness plunged into darkness. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at 15. The village's loudspeaker was broadcasting. Although SARS has not temporarily affected our city, Jason Jong, wearing bell-bottom pants, stopped me at the village entrance. Victoria, I heard you're also going to attend a technical school. His young and naive face made me shiver with fright. I immediately ran home. After taking a few steps, he turned back, raised his hand, and slapped him. Damn you, Mama's boy. He was stunned by the hit. After a while, I chased after him and shouted, Victoria's son, why did you hit me? What is a Mama's boy? I ran home in one breath, heading towards the direction of the setting sun. The courtyard was lively. My cousin from the city had come back. She graduated from technical school in her early years, was assigned to a state-owned enterprise, later married a colleague, and the unit allocated a house. From then on, I became a city person. She is the most successful in the family and has the most say. At this moment, she points out the country. Victoria was admitted to first high school, but her score is at the bottom. Girls lack explosive power, and when they go to high school, they can't keep up. Zhongzhong's college entrance rate isn't doing well now. If you don't get into university, all your studying will be wasted. It's better to go to a vocational school. In 2 years, you can start working and earning money. By then, you can help Xiaomu pay for school fees. You and your spouse can also relax a bit. My parents believed her at the time. Seeing her about to go on endlessly, I loudly interrupted. Dad, Mom, I want to go to high school. My cousin-in-law was still chattering away. So I directly told her, cousin-in-law, don't worry, we won't ask you for money. Anyway, you won't lend it anyway. She was driven away in anger. The night falls, and the yard is plunged into darkness. Dad reproached me. You're so disrespectful. How do you talk to elders? I repeat, Dad, Mom, I want to go to high school. I know, this is an era full of opportunities. But seizing opportunities also requires a stepping stone. A university diploma is that brick. Mom turned on the light in the main room. The 5-watt bulb is only slightly brighter than an oil lamp. Dad was taking big puffs of the water bag cigarette, and Mom sighed deeply. Victoria, you have to pay 1,800 at the start of the second semester of high school. Your dad and I don't have money. Now the rice can't be sold at a good price, and 2 pigs we've raised have also died. I don't have the ability like your dad, and your younger brother also needs money to study. In the previous life, they were also like this, repeating over and over, telling of their hardships. I was young at that time, inexperienced, kind-hearted and gentle. In the end, I compromised and went to a vocational school. Then I found out that many of my classmates had half the exam scores I did. Later, when my younger brother took the high school entrance exam, my parents scraped together money and paid a sponsorship fee of 5,000 yuan to send him to No. 1 middle school. At that moment, my world collapsed. But life is like that. One wrong step, and every step is wrong. I said word by word, I must attend high school. I will find a way to pay for the tuition myself. Dad exhaled his last cigarette and said, if you can get the money yourself, then go ahead and study. There is only a little over a month before school starts. I am now going to work in the county. Even if I work day and night, I can't earn 1,800. At night, I lie in bed, tossing and turning, trying to think of a solution. I finally thought of one person. It was still dawn the next day when I went out to the village entrance to catch the first bus to the county. It was hot in midsummer, and everyone got up early. I ran into Jason Jong's mother, Aunt Jong, the grandmother from my previous life. She smiled warmly and greeted me. Victoria, where are you going so early? Haven't had breakfast yet. I boiled some eggs and brought you two. I have goosebumps all over my body. It is anger and fear. Before marrying Jason Jong, she was very kind to me. Only after marriage did I realize she is two-faced, especially since I haven't had a child for several years, and she has been giving me a cold look. Later, when she was pregnant, she insisted on finding someone to do an ultrasound for me. And when she found out it was a daughter, she sold all the chickens she had raised specifically for my postpartum confinement. I took 3 steps back. I've already eaten. You also want to go to a technical school, then you and my Jason Jong should go to the same school. No, I want to attend high school. I turned around and walked away, and she called out from behind, "Where do your parents get the money to support you? Why does a girl need to study so much? You might as well start working early to earn money." I was at the bus station, under the scorching sun, searching from one shopfront to another, and finally found Food Restaurant, the year I got married. A piece of news came out in the village. A relative named Debo sponsored several students, one of whom was admitted to Tsinghua University. The child found a lawyer after graduation and insisted on giving him 300,000. The TV station also came to interview at that time. The women in the village discussed, if only they had that money, they wouldn't share some with the villagers and would go help outsiders. No wonder he has never been able to have a son in his life. It's after 10 o'clock. And the small restaurant still doesn't have many customers. I licked my chapped lips, grabbed the cloth from Debo to help wipe the table, and explained my purpose. I'll write you an IOU, and once I get into university, I'll pay you back with interest. Although my grades are at the bottom now, I will study hard. Debo, I know you've been supporting poor children. Please help me. The old lady suddenly shouted out loudly, "Support, Song Defu, who did you secretly give money to?" No wonder the shop's accounts have been off. She grabbed a kitchen knife and lunged at Debo. Debo roughly pulled the cloth back into my hand and explained, "I don't have any money. Money isn't all on you. You hear her talking nonsense." He scolded me, "If you're not going to eat, then go back quickly and don't disturb my business here." I was wrong. I was too impulsive and too eager. But Debo no longer gave me a chance. He chased me out with a broom. I asked at many shops in Arao, even if they were hiring. They only offered 600 yuan a month, and at least work for half a year. The scorching sun. I almost dried up from the heat. The cement ground is steaming. And the transparent plastic sandals make a sizzling sound when stepped on. Could restarting life also change my fate? I can only attend a free vocational school, can only work on an assembly line, can only marry someone casually, a haphazard life. I haven't eaten or had a sip of water all day. I feel like I've shed a layer of skin. When I went back, I ran into Aunt Jong again at the village entrance. She clicked her tongue and said, "Stop messing around. You just don't have that kind of luck. Follow my handsome little one to attend vocational school. It's really good." Jason Jong ran out of the house, holding a bowl of herbal tea. "Drink some tea, don't get heat stroke." In our past lives, we went to the assembly line together, 800 yuan a month. We each send 600 to our parents, leaving only 200 for ourselves. The factory provides accommodation and meals. He gave me 200 yuan, but sometimes he can't even spend 10 yuan in a month. At that time, I thought he was the best person in the world to me. He is very good, but he can't resist being a mama's boy. I pushed the herbal tea back. "No, thank you." When I got home, my parents and younger brother just came back from the fields. Song Mu sneers, "You do know how to hide, haven't seen a shadow all day." My waist is almost about to break. My parents have always told me since I was little that I am the older sister, and I have to take care of my younger brother and let him have his way. I have been brainwashed like this all along, until they used the money I sent back for so many years to pay the down payment for a house in the county town for my brother, and only bought me a 6-bed cheapest silk quilt as a dowry. I finally realized, it turns out that from the moment Song Mu was born, I was destined to be the one sacrificed. Dad looked at my face and knew that things hadn't gone well. He sighed, "Now you realize that 1800 is a lot of money, right?" Mom patted my head. "Victoria, Mom and Dad have limited ability, don't blame us." Song Mu was furious. "I'm starving, can we just cook some food first?" At the dinner table, Mom and Dad said, You and Xiao Shuai should go to a vocational school. It'll be good for both of you to look out for each other. I want to go to high school. I will earn the money." Dad slammed his chopsticks down heavily. "Do you want me to hit you to make you listen? It's already good that you're going to a vocational school. Other girls in the village all drop out after junior high to work and support their families. What more do you want?" Mom spoke softly, trying to persuade me. "But my parents, they didn't get into no one middle school either. Moreover, this is my second life. If I keep giving in, then I deserve to be stuck in the mud for eternity, never able to rise." It was a stalemate, and the black dog in the yard barked non-stop. The moonlight was dim, and Debo pushed his bicycle to stand in the shadow of the big camphor tree, softly calling me, "Victoria, come over." Debo gave me a stack of money. There were hundreds, 50s, and also 5 and 1 yuan bills. Some edges are frayed, but they are neatly folded together. The dark clouds gave way, and soft moonlight fell on his wrinkled face. He handed me the money, his face still carrying an apologetic expression. "I don't have any more. You'll have to figure out your living expenses yourself." My eyes immediately welled up with tears, and I took the money with trembling hands. "Wait a moment. I'll go back now to get paper and pen to write an IOU. Debo reached out and grabbed my arm. "No need, but you must rank in the top 300 in the final exams. Only then can you get into a decent university, and I will continue to support you." He paused. "I don't have much money either. I just hope to help those children who truly deserve it." Debo wouldn't even come inside the house to drink a glass of water. He warned me, "Don't let anyone know that I paid for the tuition. I know, there is no hatred in making people laugh. The hearts of rural people are sometimes more straightforward and malicious." Debo rode away in a hurry on his bicycle, under the moonlight. During summer vacation, I pick cicada moltings, catch snails in the river, catch crayfish, and use a net to catch wild small fish and shrimp when the water rises. These things can all be exchanged for money. Before school started, I quietly gave Debo a big bag of dried shrimp. With the 100 my mom gave me, I only have 300 in total. Even if I ate buns every day, it wouldn't last a whole semester. Fortunately, I was quick on my feet and went to find the principal on my first day of registration, explain my situation, repeatedly saying I would study hard and hoping to find a part-time job at school. He is really a good teacher. After flipping through my gradebook and thinking for a while, he still asked me to clean and organize the library twice a week, and he could give me a meal voucher worth 150 yuan each month. At that time, the meat dishes in the cafeteria started at 2 yuan, and the vegetarian dishes were only 1 yuan. The 150 yuan meal voucher greatly eased my pressure. Not everyone is as good as him. There are over 700 students in our class. I am ranked nearly 600th. I was assigned to a parallel class. There are many sponsored students in the class. My seat was assigned to the very back. The girl in front brought a high stool to sit on, blocking most of the blackboard. The self-paying students next to me never study seriously, passing notes and whispering during class. My foundation was already weak, and such a learning environment is really bad. I reported the situation to, but he just said lightly, "Then you can switch stools with her, or work hard and get good results in the midterm exam. And I'll change your seat." When I came out of the office, I heard chatting with other teachers. No grades, no family background, and still so many complaints. At that moment, I really wanted to rush in and slap him. But in fact, life has always been so cruel. If you don't have money, then you must have strength yourself. Otherwise, your voice will be drowned out, and your needs will be ignored. Deba and the principal's kindness are rare virtues. Old Lee's snobbery is the true reality of the situation. I must, and will do my best to change my fate. I will never marry hastily again, risking both lives in the end. During the break, I made English vocabulary into small cards and stuck them on my palm. While exercising, I could memorize about 10 words. During lunch break, the person next to me was playing around. I stuffed cotton into my ears and focused on solving problems. After lights out, the house across the dormitory building would turn on lights. I stood by the corridor window, using the faint light to review the next day's lessons. That day, I was helping organize books in the library when a tall, thin boy blushed and came over. He asked Teacher Wang on duty if he needed a part-time job. Teacher Wang pointed at me. You're late. The boy glanced at me and left disappointed. Teacher Wang lowered his voice and told me while returning a book to the shelf, that boy just now is Zhong Jie, the top student in your grade when you enrolled, and I heard his family conditions are not very good. Zhong Jie, it's him. The boy sponsored by Debo who got into Tsinghua University. I went to the dining hall for dinner and ran into him again. His bowl only had a serving of shredded potatoes, plus 4 tails of rice. After eating, I chatted with the aunt at the dining hall. Then I went to class 1 to find Zhong Jie and got straight to the point. I just asked the boss of the dining hall, and she hires part-time help, half an hour during lunch and dinner time every day, with meals included, and she pays 100 yuan a month. Do you want to give it a try? Zhong Jie's thin hand clenched into a fist, face flushed. Do you want to stand in front and get the rice? I, still a 15 or 16-year-old kid. Unable to keep that face, I sighed softly. How about this? I will talk to Teacher Wang at the library to see if I can have you transferred to the library. He was stunned. I had been walking for a while, and he caught up to ask me, why are you helping me? Because I have encroached on your interests. It should be that Debo split the original support for him in half and gave it to me, which is why he is in such a difficult situation. Maybe because we're both poor. He swallowed hard and asked softly, then aren't you afraid of being pointed at by your classmates? I looked up at him. The sunset jumps over his black hair, and the boy's face is ashamed and confused. I say it word by word. Actually, the scary thing is not poverty, but the inferiority and timidity that grow from poverty, as well as sensitivity and shallowness. Because we are poor, we hesitate, fear failure, dare not try hard, and ultimately miss opportunities. But if you can earn money through your own labor, why fear others' strange looks? If you were the son of a cafeteria owner, standing there helping your classmates serve rice, would you be afraid of others gossiping? Zeta with Macron and G's pupils trembled, and the veins on the back of his hand slightly protruded. He whispered, before junior high, my family was well off, I have always. I smiled. He widened his eyes. What are you laughing at? Even the top student isn't perfect. I extended my hand to him. Nice to meet you, ordinary top student. My name is Victoria Sun. His damp palm touched mine. My name is Zhong Jie. He made up his mind. You stay in the library. I'll go ask the cafeteria owner myself later. The next day, I saw him in the cafeteria. His face was as red as a shrimp. He didn't dare to make eye contact with anyone at all, and he was clumsy and awkward when serving food. It was my turn, and I said loudly, classmate, I want a serving of celery with shredded pork, and add more meat for me. He suddenly looked up at me, a flash of smile in his eyes quickly gone, then he gave me a heaping spoonful of vegetables. Look, there are people in the cafeteria, pretty enjoyable. Of course, I have other purposes when helping him. The learning atmosphere and academic performance of the parallel classes are far inferior to those of the key classes. Even the teachers aren't as dedicated. I want to find someone to guide me. But others don't have the patience. But Zhong Jie does. Whenever I ask him questions, he always helps me solve them, again and again, until I understand. The midterm exam results were not satisfactory. I ranked over 400th in the grade. Zhong Jie comforted me. Your foundation is weak. The most important thing now is to strengthen your basics. Don't be discouraged or give up. Of course not. I have endured 1,000 times more suffering than this, so I don't care about this. Gradually, rumors started to spread in the grade. They say I like Zhong Jie, and I cling to him obsessively under the guise of studying. Whenever I walk with Zhong Jie, people with good intentions whistle. That day during lunch break, I was called to the office, and Mr. Liu, the head teacher of class 1, was also there. Old Li's face looked very bad, and he was ranting at me. It's one thing that your grades are poor, but now you're also provoking the top students in class 1. You're a student. And the most important thing is studying. Don't have your head filled with all sorts of nonsense. Besides, look in the mirror. Can Zhong Jianjie even look at you? Teacher Liu frowned slightly and interrupted. Old Li, don't scold the child like that. Student song. Today I come not to scold you, but to remind you that studying is the top priority. I patiently explained. I was just asking him for help with the problem. I have no ulterior motives. Old Lee slammed the table. You're still stubborn. Can't you ask the teacher if you have difficulties? I looked at him sternly. But every time I ask you, you dismiss me with just a few words, and you haven't really tried to teach me properly. Old Lee was furious and reached out to hit me. At that time, punishing students physically was not considered a big deal. In the end, Teacher Liu held him back. That afternoon, my seat was moved to the last row near the door. There are 2 athletes in front of me with 185. And I am completely covered. It seems someone is secretly laughing at me for wanting to eat a swan while being a toad. After evening self-study, Zhong Jie came to find me. We've known each other for almost 2 months, and this is the first time he has. Victoria, son, you should come to class 1. His gaze was intense. I've asked before, there's a chance once each semester. If you come to class 1, no one will ever stop us again. His face turned red. And he hurriedly explained, I mean, to hinder our studies, to inspire students' motivation. At the end of each semester, the school will replace the last 6 students in the 3 key classes with the top 6 students from the parallel classes based on their grades. I hesitated a bit. Can I do it? This semester won't work. Then next semester, the corridor light was dim, but Zhong Jie's eyes shone like stars. As long as you persist, you will definitely be able to. Victoria, son, I'll be waiting for you in class 1. This final exam is crucial for me. I have to be at least in the top 300 of the grade, or Debo will continue to sponsor me. But actually, I want to get into the key class and strive for a better learning environment and atmosphere in the coming days. Besides sleeping, eating, and doing part-time jobs, I studied like crazy. After winter begins, the weather gets colder. I have no money to buy a down jacket, so at night I read in the corridor, wrapping all my clothes around myself, constantly moving to fend off the cold. The dormitory supervisor gently pushed open the door and draped a down jacket over my shoulders. Don't catch a cold. The light bulb on the opposite residential balcony, I don't know what happened, was replaced with a much higher wattage. The curtains are drawn tightly, and the light on the balcony is often on all night. Teacher Wang snatched the cloth from my hand. You go to my office to learn. The museum isn't busy for the next half month. It turns out that as long as you work hard enough, the world will always show you many acts of kindness. It was particularly cold on those 2 days of the final exams. The school was very generous and actually turned on the air conditioning. The air conditioning had always been just a decoration before. I wore too many clothes, and my back was all sweaty. The classroom doors and windows are tightly closed. I feel a bit dizzy, and the frostbite on my hands and feet is being warmed, making me itch with impatience. I keep telling myself, Victoria, son, you must stay awake. The report card will only be out in a week. Saying goodbye to Zhong Jie and my roommate, I take a bus back to the village. An old 7-seater jinbei filled with 14 people, creaking as it moves along the muddy road. The middle-aged man is smoking in the car, while the woman holding the child is crying loudly. She lifts her clothes to breastfeed the baby. In 2003, the big city was already bustling with traffic, but this remote small county was still muddy all over, like a dead water pool. I felt a bit car sick, so I got off the car at the village entrance like escaping for my life. And I saw Aunt Zhong right in front of me. Aunt Zhong smiled and asked, Victoria, why do you look so pale? It seems like you didn't do well on the exam. I checked, and the parallel class at First High School rarely gets into good universities every year. The women in the village also say the same thing. My parents must have gone crazy. They didn't send their good son to school, but instead sent their daughter to high school. Isn't this like making wedding clothes for others? When we arrived at the pond at the entrance of the house, my mother was washing clothes. She looked at me and stood up, holding her waist. Quick, I have a backache. Please help me wash these clothes. I originally wanted to study hard during the winter vacation and catch up, but there is always endless work at home, doing laundry and cooking, feeding chickens and pigs, plowing the fields and sowing seeds. Only after nightfall do I finally have time. But Mom complains that leaving the lights on to read is wasteful. But Song-moo rides around the village on his bicycle every day, doing no work at all. Every time I complain, Mom defends him. He's a man. He can't do these trivial chores. Song-moo rolled his eyes at me. These are women's work. That day I was cutting a radish in the kitchen. Song-moo came in. I cut a slice for him, and he ate a slice. He also complained about how I hadn't made dinner so late. I was furious and directly grabbed his hand, pressing it firmly on the chopping board, and said viciously, "Song-moo, I'm not your sister who used to work tirelessly anymore. If you do this again, I'll chop your hand off." Believe it or not, at this moment, I unleashed the demon within me, revealing my sharp, sinister fangs. Yes, I resent him. I hate that he used endless demands, that he is useless, and that he took away all the love from my parents. Since that day, Song-moo has become much more honest and will also lend me a hand. See, love and tolerance cannot bring respect. Only by making a fist can others take you seriously and fear you. On the day the report card is issued, I will return to school. Mom was unconvinced. Why waste the bus fare? Can you still improve your grades? Aunt Jong was laughing and mocking as she beat the clothes. Victoria is probably going to bring home the top student in the whole school, right? Jason Jong ran out of the house. Wangjia Village is putting on a show today. Let's go watch the performance. What's so great about a report card? After graduating from a vocational school in my previous life, I realized the importance of knowledge when I entered the assembly line. I am taking adult self-study exams, completing college and then university. Jason Jong has been playing on his phone and gaming, often criticizing me. With this level of education, it's not recognized outside. I don't know what you're busy with. Is this book more fun than a game? I looked at him and smiled. Jason Jong, go watch the show properly. I don't want to be on the same path with you anymore. I missed the earliest bus and arrived at school at 9:30. At the school gate, I met a few self-funded students getting out of a private car. Moo Jun. I was whistling hurriedly as I walked, and shouted to me, "Victoria's son, no matter how fast you run, you won't get extra points on the final exam." The others laughed out loud. GAO has 3 red list boards: overall ranking list, key class list, and parallel class list. I am desperately pushing forward in the parallel class rankings. Cold wind howling, dark clouds covering the sun, but my heart is held high, a boiling sensation. Will my name be in the top 6? First, not me. Second, not either. Third, not. Fourth, not. It's not the 5th. My heart is getting colder. I took a deep breath before looking at the 6th name, Song, Jiao, Jiao. I rubbed my eyes hard. The sun peeked out from behind thick clouds, shedding rays of light upon the earth. The 3 words Victoria's son shone like a halo, piercing my eyes. In that brief moment, my eyes had already turned red. Zhong Jie had somehow squeezed to my side and patted me. "Victoria's son, you're really amazing." I looked back at him, tears suddenly streaming down. He panicked. "Why are you crying?" He was fumbling all over himself and couldn't find a tissue. Finally awkwardly handing me his sleeve, "Don't cry anymore, wipe your tears with this." I wiped my tears fiercely on his arm. "I'm just too happy. I really can do it. Oh, I deserve this kind of brilliant winter sunshine. I can also have a different life." Zhong Jie put his arm behind his back and smiled faintly. "Victoria's son, I'll be waiting for you in the honors class. The detailed report card still needs to be picked up in the classroom. Laro Lee and others are at the classroom door." As I passed by him, I smiled happily. "Teacher Lee, it's really a pity. I won't be your student next semester." Laro Lee's mouth twitched. With a fake smile, "Uncle Moo Jun got a promotion. So next semester, you'll still be my student." At this moment, my whole body felt as if it was poured with ice cubes. Cold to the point of terror, old Lee patted my shoulder. "Who told you not to score an extra point? If you didn't, someone else would be pushed out." "No, the problem isn't whether I score 1 more point or 1 less. This rule is wrong to begin with. But I am too weak now. I can't change the rules. I can only change myself. There must be some way to make amends. There must be." I anxiously paced back and forth in the corridor. When Moo Jun passed by me, he even bumped into me. He smiled proudly and said, "Sorry, this wasn't a place you should be standing in the first place." Moo Jun walked away confidently. Following the direction he left, I saw the head teacher of the class, the head of the senior high school grade, Teacher Liu. He is the opportunity. I ran wildly, squeezing into his office just before the door closed, and grabbed his arm. "Teacher Liu, Please admit me to the key class. I will study hard. I absolutely won't fall behind. My grades are good enough. I am 6th in the parallel class. I know this is difficult. I beg you, please give me a chance. In my youth in a past life, I was ashamed to open my mouth and ask for help. Looking back now, compared to a lifetime of future prospects, a few words of pleading are nothing. Teacher Liu frowned, looking troubled. Suddenly, the office door was knocked, and Zhong Jie stood at the door, straight and tall. Teacher Liu. According to the grades, Victoria's son could have. Teacher Liu furrowed his brows even more. I quickly interrupted him. Zhong Jie, shut up. Then I turned to Teacher Liu. Teacher. I have no inappropriate thoughts about Zhong Jie. I just want to get into a key class. Any class is fine. If you have any concerns. I took a deep breath. I can keep my distance from classmate Zhong in the future. Zhong Jie looked much more subdued. Teacher Liu cast a deep look at me. I don't oppose normal interactions between classmates for studying purposes. You go home first and wait for news. I will try to fight for this matter for you. I went downstairs with Zhong Jie. He pursed his lips straight and silent. When he reached the bottom of the stairs, he shook off his pace and walked forward. I stopped him. Sorry, Zhong Jie, people like us, in the mud, must have the determination to leave everything behind and fight our way up. Only then can we succeed. I raised my hand, facing the sunlight, and made a virtual grasp with 5 fingers. I must have a sufficiently heavy stepping stone. Do you understand? He stopped in his tracks and looked back at me. Against the light, his expression blurred and hazy. Now I understand. He took 2 steps forward, and I saw the softness in his eyes. I understand you, but I would rather us be comrades who advance and retreat together, walking out of the predicament side by side. He has grown so quickly. He is a completely different person from the one who was afraid to show his face when getting food a few months ago. It makes me ashamed. When I returned to the village, Aunt Zhong was in the yard killing the chicken that would be eaten tomorrow. The chicken was upside down, and the dark red blood dripped into the cracked large porcelain bowl. She asked me maliciously, Victoria, how did you do on the exam? Fortunately, I am over 100th in my grade. She looked stunned, awkwardly swallowing the laughter that had already reached her throat. The next day is Little New Year. The cousin from the city has returned. A big family gathered together for a meal. She initially strongly opposed me going to high school, and now she's dissing me in front of everyone. I heard you got into the parallel class. What's the point of a parallel class? It's just a waste of time. At the table, many relatives were agreeing one after another. Girls don't need to read so many books. You just don't understand. Look at how tired your parents are. Marrying a good man is the most important thing. I speak calmly, this time in the final exam. I ranked 6th in the parallel class and 135th in the grade. There was a moment of silence on the table. Auntie's face didn't look very good. After a while, she sighed regretfully. It's a pity you're a girl. If Xiao Mu had done this well on the exam, that would be great. But Xiao Mu is also good. I heard that this semester's final exam, you ranked in the top 50 in your school. Still has a lot of potential. Keep it up. Relatives all praised the younger brother. Do they really not know the weight of the more than 100 students from one high school and the top 50 from the countryside middle schools? Naturally, they do. However, in their eyes, girls are insignificant. The family's hope must be carried by the boys. Cousin glanced at me and said, a final exam once doesn't mean much. You still need to get into the key class to have a chance. At that moment, Dad's mobile phone rang. He wasn't used to holding the phone to his ear. He always used the speakerphone. On the other end of the phone, Teacher Liu's gentle voice came through. Is this Victoria's son's parent? I'm calling to let the child know that she can come to class 1 next semester. Victoria's son is smart, sensible, and ambitious. You have such a daughter. You are truly blessed. I don't know how much effort he put in or how much he struggled to achieve this result. I grabbed the phone and choked out a thank you. Teacher Liu smiled. This is what you deserve. Have a peaceful new year. The call was hung up, quietly across the table. The cousin seems to be grinding her teeth, smiling awkwardly. You're really lucky. I am lucky, but my good luck is all earned by myself. Although most relatives don't believe in me, there are still people who applaud me. It's Deba. He also returned to the countryside on the 28th day of the lunar calendar. After all, this is his roots. He always comes back for the new year, on New Year's Day. I went to his house to pay a New Year's call. He patted my shoulder with satisfaction while his aunt went to pour tea. "I heard you got into the key class. That's really good." He secretly slipped a stack of money into my hand. "Take it quickly. This is for your tuition next semester. The extra is for your New Year's money. By the end of the first year of high school, you have to rank in the top 100 of the grade." The old lady doesn't like me, or rather, she equally dislikes every person in this countryside. Due to health reasons, she gave birth to a daughter and could no longer conceive, and countless people behind her back accused her of being a chicken that couldn't lay eggs. Some people are encouraging Debo to divorce and remarry a woman to continue the family line. Don't be fooled by how well Debo's small restaurant is doing, but everyone in the village talks about it. What's the use of earning so much money, no sons, and in the future? Won't it all be spent on grandchildren? Auntie brought me a cup of ginger salt bean tea. It's too salty. I know how to read the room, so I took 2 sips and quickly got up to leave. When I got home, I counted and Debo gave me 2,100. He even gave me 300 yuan as a New Year's gift. His small shop sells a bowl of spicy stir-fried pork with rice for only 5 yuan, 2,100. I don't know how many dishes he needs to stir-fry to make a profit. During the Lunar New Year, I also didn't stay idle. I went to the mountain and dug up a lot of winter bamboo shoots. Before Debo returned to the county seat, I sent him a sack of goods. I finished sending off and ran away, and the old lady chased after me, stuffing 50 yuan into my hand. "I don't want your money for nothing. Take it and buy a new outfit." A big event happened during this new year. A female college graduate from the Wang family village next door, who graduated 2 years ago, bought a house with a loan in the provincial capital and brought her parents to live there, and she also sent her younger brother to study in the provincial capital. This incident caused a great uproar in the countryside. Who would have thought that reading well could bring such great benefits? On the 12th day of the first month, we will start school. The night before, my dad gave me 100 yuan. "From now on, we'll give you 100 yuan for living expenses each month. You have to figure out the rest yourself." I was a little touched at that moment. But then he said, "Study hard, get into a good university, and in the future, help support the family and your younger brother." My heart instantly grew cold again. The next day, I went to class 10 to get my books and some scattered belongings. Those self-funded students are all there. They no longer whistled at me, but all stared at me as I packed up. I packed everything into a supermarket plastic bag and then smiled and waved to them goodbye. When I arrived at class, I found Mu Jun was also there. After thinking it over, I probably understood the key point. As the grade leader, Teacher Liu could have assigned students like Mu Jun, who was at the bottom of the class, to other classes, but in order to bring me along, he had to compromise and include Mu Jun in class 1 as well. Zhong Jie sat in the best seat in the center of the classroom. When he saw me, his eyes curved into a smile as he looked at me. I also smiled and waved at him as a greeting. Halfway through waving, Mu Jun's snicker sounded in my ear. "You're really persistent. Thinking that just because you got into this class, things will change. Even if you get into university, you'll only be working for people like me for the rest of your life." I withdraw my hand calmly and say, "I know, but effort always has a chance. Mu Jun, class always exists, but you don't necessarily stay on the podium forever. Regarding learning, you have to admit that some people are just talented." The same article. Zhong Jie can remember most of it after reading it 2 or 3 times, but I have to recite it 10 times. The same problem. He can solve it in a few minutes, but I can barely understand after explaining it to me 3 times. Reading is like climbing a mountain. It's not difficult to climb from the foot of the mountain to the halfway point. You have to climb higher from the middle of the mountain. Every step will widen the gap between you and others. I did my best, never slackened, and scored 9 to 5 in the final exam of the first year. Barely made it into the top 100. That's already very good. Based on previous year's admission rates, if I can keep steady, getting into a top university shouldn't be a problem. I became classmates with Zhong Jie. At first, all the subject teachers paid special attention to us. Ultimately, they were just afraid I would influence him badly. Later, we found out that we were really just a mutual encouragement study group, so they went with us. Zhong Jie estimates that he can receive about 20 love letters in a week. Once I looked at those envelopes with a bit of envy. This is the treatment of the top student in the grade. Only people like you who shine can have youth. Someone like me, ordinary and unremarkable, even if I had a second chance, there would still be no love. He threw all those letters into the trash can, staring at me and saying word by word, "This is not the youth I want. What is it that you want? Steady goals, relentless effort, never give up." He smiled at me. "This is what I want. Very good. It should be like that." At the end of the first semester of the second year of high school, I ranked 65th in the grade. At the end of the second semester of the second year of high school, I ranked 49th in the grade. For the first time, I broke into the top 50 in the grade. After the report card was released, Teacher Liu called me to the office. "Victoria's son, you must stay calm, no matter how hard or tiring. This is just this year. If you improve your current score a little more, it won't be a problem to get into a good 985 university." Zhong Jie is still the top of the grade. He looked at my report card and smiled so happily. "Victoria's son, you're amazing." I went to Deborah's store to report this good news to him. In the scorching heat of summer, the kitchen was filled with heavy fumes. The strong smell of chili peppers made his eyes water. Good, you're really something." I helped serve the dishes to the guests, and on the way back to the kitchen, I saw him dipping his saliva and counting money on each table. "You should focus on your senior year. So don't take on a part-time job. I give you 250 yuan a month for living expenses, which should be enough." No, just the tuition you pay for me is already enough. I am very grateful. Listen to me, if you truly appreciate me. Getting into a good university is the most important thing. His eyes were red. When my daughter wanted to attend high school, I was poor and short-sighted. So I let her go to Guangdong to work. She still hates us to this day. Take it, child. He handed me that stack of neatly arranged money. Just then, the greasy cloth curtain was pushed aside, and the auntie came in with 2 freshly sharpened gleaming kitchen knives. In that instant, every hair on my body stood on end. Debo was even more drenched in cold sweat, his hands trembling uncontrollably. The auntie coldly looked at me, then at Debo, and let out a heavy snort. "What are you standing around for? Can't you hear the customers outside urging for their dishes?" She snatched the money from Debo's hand and shoved it into my pants pocket. Holding 2 kitchen knives, she said to me, "If you don't get into a good university, I'll chop you up and stir-fry you with chili." I was so shocked that my mouth kept moving, but I didn't know what to say. The older woman impatiently said, Get out. The kitchen is so small. There's no room to turn around with so many people." I went home with the money. The house was filled with gloom. Song Mu's high school entrance exam results came out, and he scored 30 points below the admission line for first high school. "Dad, smoking a lovebird, we still have to send him to a zhong. Can't farm all his life." Mom agreed. "His eyes are already nearly blind. How can he farm?" But Song Mu's grades need to get into a zhong, and the sponsorship fee is 5,000. Mom and Dad sighed and looked at me repeatedly. I'm doing Huanggang practice questions, pretending I didn't hear. That night around 2 o'clock, I was woken up by the heat. The 2 fans at home. One is used by my parents, and the other was given to Song Mu. I don't have one. Only a faint moon is visible on the horizon, and the indoor lighting is dim. Mom and Dad are holding flashlights and are rummaging through my backpack. She should have already received next semester's tuition from Brotherda, but I don't know where she put it, so they have known all along that Brotherda is funding me. In that moment, I seemed to fall into hell. I held back my anger and asked, "What are you looking for?" The 2 figures' backs froze. Dad turned on the light in the room. His face was stern. "Your brother needs 5,000 yuan for high school. I know you have money, so take it out and let your brother use it first. What about me? We'll figure something out. If we can't think of a way, then don't go to school. Go to Guangdong to work, and just support your brother through high school." The cruelest words in the world are no more than this. Why should I? I couldn't hold back anymore, tears streaming down my face. "Aren't I your child? I have good grades. I work hard and strive to improve. I ranked in the top 50 in the grade. Why should I give way to him? Can't you be a little fairer? Is it just because he has a little advantage? Do you even deserve to be parents? If it was my past life, it was because I wasn't firm enough, not working hard enough. But now, I've changed all that. With me shining so brightly, don't they deserve to take a second look? My dad was so furious he was about to explode, and he shined his flashlight at me to throw it at me. Have you read your books up your ass? Is that how you talk to me? I didn't dodge. The flashlight brushed past my forehead, leaving a deep cut. My dad didn't even say sorry and turned around to leave the room. Mom found a torn cloth to cover my wound. She kept sighing. You know your dad's temper. Why are you arguing with him? He's already been good enough to you. Really? Bloodstains blurred my vision, and I smiled bitterly. Mom, he's a man. He can't understand empathy. I can understand. But you're also a woman. Why do you also have to be an accomplice? Don't you think that only boys are worth nurturing? You've seen my efforts. My mother couldn't look me in the eye, stammered. But Victoria, you'll have to get married someday. Your dad and I will rely on your brother for old age support. Every household in the village is like this. Your dad and I are supporting you through high school, which is already under a lot of pressure. If you go to school and your younger brother doesn't, we'll be laughed at to death by the villagers. Your dad and I have raised you all these years. Shouldn't you also consider us? In my past life, I was just too considerate of you all. Inch by inch, step by step, I gave up my own life. In this life, I will never back down again. Seeing my face look bad, Mom rubbed her hands on her lap. How about this? You give this money to your younger brother first, then go ask Brother Da for some. He runs such a big shop, he should be able to come up with it. At that moment, my anger reached the top of my head. Mom, how can you say such things? Deborah, even if he has 100 million, is earned through his hard work. Kind people should be appreciated, not exploited. Mom, be a decent parent. The next morning, I packed my luggage and left with my backpack. My dad held a broomstick at the door. Where are you going? Go back to school. He raised his shoulder pole. Your younger brother wants to study, and you're so indifferent, so selfish, only caring about yourself. I'll hit you to death with this shoulder pole. I walked towards him step by step, glaring, then hit me to death. Anyway, if you don't let me continue studying, it's no different from killing me. If you insist on blocking me today, then we are done. In the future, even if you all die, I won't go to your graves to cry. My father's face turned red with anger, veins bulged on his arms. And he raised the broomstick high. I ignored everything and continued to walk forward with my foot raised. The scene was hard to clean up, and at this moment, Song Mu walked out of the house. He grabbed his father's arm. Let her go, she's meant for studying. I'm not. I looked at him in astonishment. He glared at me fiercely. What are you looking at? Hurry up and leave. In a past life, when Song Mu was taking the high school entrance exam, I had just been assigned to the assembly line. At that time, my parents called me, asking me to think of a way to. Song Mu, on the phone, was haughty and commanding. You're working now, at least prepare 2,000 yuan for me. Later, I took an advance on my salary, scraped together money from here and there, and sent back 2,000 yuan. At that time, I didn't get into high school myself, hoping he would achieve something better. But in the end, he only got into a vocational college. Now, looking back, under my parents' brainwashing, I was blindly indulgent and accommodating to Song Mu. Everything in the family revolved around him, so he felt at ease and never cherished it. But after being reborn, because of the resentment, I didn't show him any kindness. He always speaks to him harshly and never indulges him. Perhaps it is precisely because of this that his kindness is preserved. Encountered several elders on the way. They all want me to understand my parents' difficulties and to be sensible and share the burden. Blaming me for having a bad temper and being impolite. Aunt Zhong even said that the most important thing for girls is to get married and have children. What's the point of reading so many books? Seize the right age and hurry up to have a son. That's the most important thing. This backward and isolated village is truly suffocating. I must escape. I absolutely do not want to be like in my previous life, to be trapped here for a lifetime, thanks to Teacher Liu's communication. The dorm manager opened the door for me to move in. I don't have to do any farm work. I can focus entirely on studying, and this feeling is just so wonderful. Because of makeup classes, the summer vacation is very short, and everyone quickly returns to school to start classes. I haven't called my family for over a month. The lower grades will start school soon. During this break, Songmu actually came to find me. He finally came to read at Zhongyi. He is carrying a large bag. Mom asked me to give this to you. He handed me a stack of 10 yuan bills. Dad said my monthly living expenses are 300 yuan, but he gave me 400 yuan, and the extra 100 should be for you. Inside the bag are pickled beans and white beans stored in Laogan Ma bottles, along with stir-fried pork with white chili. I don't like eating ginger. In these jar dishes, there isn't a single shred of ginger. My mind is filled with complex feelings. Look, this is what parents are. They always slap you hard, trying to train you into a child who meets their expectations, but they also give you a small sweet date, letting you know they also have a little love for you. I have lived twice, yet I still cannot break free from this bond. That day, after I finished eating, I passed by the notice board. The red list for senior year has not been taken down yet. Songmu is wearing a military training uniform, standing there with a few classmates. Someone pointed at the list. Victoria's son, Victoria Mu Mu. Songmu, your name matches you well. Her grades are also so good. Under the sunset. Songmu raised her chin proudly and said, "That's my sister." After evening self-study, I went to find Songmu. I gave him all the notes I took in first year of high school, after the middle school entrance exam. I had a dream. I dreamed that I went to a vocational school, joined the assembly line, married someone casually, and finally died in the hospital during childbirth. The corridor's lights were dim, casting a pallid face. Turns out that a lifetime of over 30 years can be summarized in just one sentence. I look at Songmu, and you, paid your way into first high school, obsessed with games, and ended up studying a vocational college, unable to find a good job. You finally got a girlfriend. But she thought you were poor and left. Songmu, I don't want my life to be as tragic as that dream, so I work hard. As for whether you want to spend your life in confusion and ignorance, or try hard now to change your life, it's up to you to decide. I threw the notebook to him and turned to leave. I didn't go home the entire semester. Sometimes my mother would ask Songmu to bring me a little something. I study day and night. I took the college and undergraduate exams in my past life. But compared to the real college entrance exam, those previous studies are insignificant. Top 50 in the grade, either not enough effort, or talent, or even like Zhongjie, talent plus effort. As long as I slack off a little, I will be overtaken. Sometimes I think, even a small county high school is like this. What about key high schools, the whole province, and the whole country? It's just a drop in the ocean. Yet even as an invisible speck of dust, I will do my best, riding the wind. Perhaps landing on a peak, becoming a grain of sand overlooking the mountains, perhaps falling from a high-rise building, breathing the same air as the bustling city. In any case, I will no longer be mixed in with the mud of Ming. Sometimes I'm so tired I don't even want to talk. There are moments of doubt. Why can't I, after being reborn, be as powerful as those in the novels? Every time, it is Zhongjie who pulls me back. The sky in April remains cool at night. He smiled at me under the brilliant starry sky and said, "Hold on, we will be victorious soon." The spring flowers bloom and wither again. The small gardenia has quietly formed buds. I don't know from which day it started, but as I passed by the small garden downstairs from the Senior 3 building, the air was filled with a faint fragrance. The gardenias are in bloom. The college entrance examination has finally arrived. This is the result of my 3 years of hard work. And also a test of whether I made the right choice after rebirth. I am very lucky. The exam is held at my school. It rained heavily on the 2 days of the college entrance exam. Raindrops hit the glass, making a crackling sound. I suddenly remembered that the day I gave birth was also such weather. My cries of pain and pleas were shattered by the heavy rain. Outside the door, Grandma's curses and Jason Zhong's shouts urging me to hold on were like drums beating in my chest. That time, I walked towards death in the pouring rain. This time, I want to be reborn in the thunderstorm. The last exam is over. I came out of the exam room, and I saw Zhong Jie walking far away from the corridor at the end of the classroom. The continuous 2 days of heavy rain have unknowingly stopped. The summer rainbow hangs in the sky. She smiled faintly at me through the surging crowd. I also smiled. And as I did, tears started to fall. I returned to the village on the day I was waiting for the results. Over the past 3 years, in this backward mountain village, only Song Mu and I managed to get into No. 1 middle school. Other children either go to Guangdong to work right after graduation or first attend a vocational school and then work on assembly lines. The village's impression of me still remains at the point of being the last in the class to get into a first-tier high school. Girls are good at studying, but it's not something worth announcing widely to bring honor to the family, so the women would ask, "Victoria, can you get into a regular university? If you get into a third-tier college, your parents definitely won't be able to afford to support you." Aunt Zhong clicked her tongue and said, "I told you that studying in high school is useless. Look at my son Xiaoshui. He started working last year and has already sent home 5,000 yuan in total." In an instant, the women were full of admiration, and they all praised Aunt Zhong for being a good parent. Limited by one's perspective, they think the immediate 5,000 is much more reliable than the uncertain 50,000 or 500,000 in the future. Aunt Zhong smiled at me. "Victoria, you're not young anymore. Why don't you go to work with Xiao Shui this time and become my daughter-in-law later? I won't treat you badly." Cousin Tang has a bit more insight. After all, it's a key class in a top high school. Scoring in the second tier should be no problem. But now second-tier colleges are not as popular. If you didn't graduate from a key university, this degree isn't very useful. But back then, she clearly said that graduating from a vocational school was good enough. 2 days before the exam results came out, Zhong Jie called me. "Victoria, have you decided which school to apply to? Let's talk about the scores later." He paused. "Tsinghua and Peking University both called me. I want to ask which city you want to go to." After living for 2 generations, I quickly understood what he meant. Where I go doesn't matter, Zhong Jie. The key is where you want to go. Someone with your kind of mind can only be matched by Tsinghua University or Peking University. You need to be responsible for your life and the talents bestowed upon you by the heavens. The person on the other end of the phone was silent for a long time. Finally, he softly said, "Then I will go to Tsinghua." The day the results were officially announced was a sunny day. On the day Wang Bo from the village was building a new house and installing the roof beams, all the labourists in the village were invited to help, including Dad. Near noon, I went to find him to make a call on the pager. Wang Bo's family has many members. It was just lunchtime, and everyone was sitting under the shade of a tree, eating and chatting. Aunt Zhong is also here. She smiled and said, "Victoria wants to check her scores." "Right. Just check here, so everyone can hear." I dialed the inquiry phone number, and after a long wait, in front of everyone's attention, the other end of the line started announcing the scores. Chinese, 128, Mathematics, 127, English, 138, Science, 274, total score, 667, that year. The exam was a bit difficult, and the first-tier line for science was 547 points. I guess I performed exceptionally well. At that moment, I was floating in the air, my legs feeling soft and squishy, like stepping on cotton, which felt very unreal. Is this really my score? Is it a score belonging to a former vocational school student? My dad threw down the chopsticks in his hand and stood up suddenly. Replay it. I didn't hear clearly. In the hands-free. The mechanical female voice announced my score again. The lively dinner table was so quiet at this moment that you could hear the rustling of leaves in the wind. Dad looked at his phone, then looked at me. He looked at me, then looked at his phone. He asked tremblingly, This score, what kind of school can I get into?" I smiled gently. Most schools across the country are able to attend, even if there's not a single person who has attended high school on the table. The concept of being 120 points above the admission line is still understood by everyone. Wang Bo took out a large plastic wine jar from the house. "Old song, oh, what a great joy. Come on, let's drink a few more glasses today." Aunt Zhong mumbled, "Could it be that I got it wrong? Your previous grades weren't very good. Just a little better than Xiao Shui. So university is so easy to get into. If I had known, I would have let Xiao Shui also go to high school. In the midst of drinking and merriment, Dad's face was flushed, and he said with a smile, "It's a pity Victoria is a girl. It would be great if she were a son." Everyone nodded in agreement. Uncle Wang said, "Your little Mu also studies at Zhejiang. Victoria can get such good results. Mu should aim for Tsinghua or Peking University." Dad chuckled upon hearing that. That might really be possible. My son has been smart since he was a child. Their conversation began to revolve around each other's sons. The noon sunlight was blinding and hot. My back and forehead are all sweaty. Changing these decayed ideas is never a one-day process. But I believe that at least today, they will have a little awakening. Girl children are also worth nurturing. Based on my scores and Liu's suggestions, I finally applied to Zhejiang University. The admission notice was picked up by my father from the village head. He used the notice as a fan to cool himself. And it took him over an hour to walk home, a journey that should have taken 10 minutes. When he returned, he pulled out a handful of loose cigarettes from his pocket. They were all Jinbeisha. He clicked his tongue and said, "Everyone has good cigarettes at home, but they are reluctant to share with guests, usually offering lovebirds instead." My cousin returned to her hometown with her daughter during the summer vacation. Her daughter is in the first year of high school in the city. She put on a smile and praised me. "Victoria, I knew you would be successful. Your sister has a serious subject imbalance. You're free during the summer vacation, so maybe you should give her some tutoring." She pushed her daughter forward and said, "Your sister got into Zhejiang University. She's really impressive." I smiled and said, "My homeroom teacher introduced me to some tutors, 15 yuan an hour. Auntie, if you want me to tutor you, I'll arrange your schedule first." The cousin's face slightly changed. The whole family still needs to pay for tutoring. Even brothers need to settle accounts clearly. The cousin awkwardly left. Knowledge can be effectively converted into money. Zhongjie tutors students, 20 yuan an hour, because he is a Tsinghua student, and I, 15 yuan an hour. There is also another student in our class. Her rate is 12. Teacher Liu found a house for me. The landlord doesn't charge me rent. As long as I can help tutor her daughter with her homework every day. Her daughter is only in 3rd grade of elementary school. Look, under the same sky, in the same county town, parents in this world are not the same. Some are eager to break their children's wings, while others prepare in advance, wanting to help their children soar. I have 4 hours of classes a day, and the parents of my students still give me milk and seasonal fruits, earning 60 yuan. My dad works as a laborer during the farming off-season, working 10 hours a day in the wind and sun, but only earns 30 yuan. Maybe it's from this very moment, my parents truly realize that I am different from before. They hadn't thought before that a female college student could climb onto a higher platform in the future. That day after class, I unexpectedly ran into Song Mu on the way back. He came out of the internet cafe with a few classmates. When he saw me, he was instantly panicked and hurriedly explained, "It's a middle school classmates gathering. I will be home tonight." I remained calm. "Your own affairs, handle them yourself." I turned around and left, and he caught up, looks very aggrieved. "Victoria-san, I didn't mean to offend you. Why are you treating me like this now? You weren't like this before," he shouted at me. "Are you still my sister?" The setting sun shines brightly, revealing the shimmering sweat on his forehead. I take a deep breath and say slowly, "Song Mu, born into a family like ours, in such an environment, everything can only rely on oneself. If you do your best to change your life, I can give you a helping hand. If you are content to fall into despair, I will never reach out. Because I don't want to risk my own life too. If you think I'm selfish and don't acknowledge me as your sister, that's okay. I don't care either." Song Mu's expression trembled. He was gasping heavily, as if he had countless words he wanted to shout at me. However, after a minute of confrontation, he slumped his head and said, "Sorry, I will start studying hard tomorrow. My university tuition was paid with a loan." Mom counted out 5 crumpled 100 yuan bills for me. She advised me, "When you go abroad, be sure to be cautious in your words and actions, don't offend people, and always seek harmony in everything. Money should be spent carefully, you know the conditions at home." I pushed the money back. I can earn money myself, so you can keep it for yourselves. Mom, with tears in her eyes, praised me for being sensible. However, the truth is that I just don't want to accept the favor. By not accepting kindness, I can be more cold-hearted in the future and won't feel guilty. Debo privately approached me and offered me 2,000 yuan. I didn't take it. Entering university and moving to a big city. I will have many opportunities. Debo, thank you. Thank you for saving me back then. Debo smiled. Me too. To make up for regrets, the prosperity of Hangzhou is far beyond that of a small county town. Many students who come from small mountain villages take a long time to adapt, but I don't. Because I have seen greater prosperity, I already have a sufficiently weighty stepping stone. Now is the time to use the profit to completely change your destiny. Opportunities come very quickly. Our roommate Judge's family actually runs a clothing factory, but now it's about to go bankrupt. There were many clothing factories like that in Jiangsu and Zhejiang, and the products they produced were all similar. Without advantages, it's easy to be eliminated. She gave us a bunch of t-shirts that supposedly cost only a little over $1 each. These simple, unadorned styles of clothing made me sense a business opportunity. That was 2006. Taobao has already risen, but it's not yet booming. Only a few avant-garde people are willing to try, and they shop online. At that time, there was no free shipping, no 7-day no questions asked returns. Whether you can find something suitable depends purely on luck. During the National Day holiday, I went home with Judge and explained to her father our bright future vision of opening a store on Taobao. Early Taobao stores were almost all middlemen earning the difference. We can run a directly operated store from the manufacturer. This way, we can reduce costs and be the first to occupy the market. The required expenses are not much. Models and photographers can be found among college students. They have time, are willing to make repeated modifications and cooperate, and are relatively inexpensive. Designer. I already have someone in mind. In a previous life, I was a team leader in a clothing workshop and once received the company's design manager. Because we come from the same province, we talked a few words. She said she graduated from the China Academy of Art. Calculate her age, she should now be a junior. I persuade her earnestly, along with Judge constantly acting spoiled. In the end, his father agreed. He asked me, "How much salary do you want?" "I'm here to operate. I hope to have relatively free decision-making power. I want 15% of the net profit as my income." Dad Joe smiled. "If it loses money, you won't get a single penny." "It won't lose money. If it loses money, then I really have lived a useless few decades." At that time, Taobao did not have small stores. We first registered a personal shop because there was no 7-day no questions asked return policy, and we didn't even need to pay a deposit. In 2007, the store officially launched, named Xinsheng. It is Xinsheng of Judge's father's factory, and also my new beginning. I am busy every day to the point that my feet don't touch the ground, riding around on an electric bike, to facilitate communication. I bought a second-hand laptop. Zhong Jiyuan is in Beijing, and he is also busy with his studies. Sometimes we chat on QQ online, but after a few words, I have to go do other things. The night before the store opened, he told me, "Victoria, it's starting to wind in Beijing. Probably going to snow again. I think you are also like a breeze I can't catch. It's already past 1 a.m. I looked up and saw the stars outside the window. I smiled and said, "The weather in Hangzhou is very good." I saw many stars. Zhongjie, to me, you have also been a star in the sky that I cannot touch. Why do you have to hold on to me? I am the wind. You are the star. We can always walk side by side under the same sky. After a long time, he replied, the words I said back then, you still remember. One day, I was chatting with Zhongjie. He said that after getting into Tsinghua University, he received quite a bit of prize money, after paying for his mother's medical expenses. He still had about 10,000 yuan on him and wanted to make some investments. I opened the stock app to take a look, and I told him, buy stocks. Now, you can buy anything and it will go up. But when the Shanghai Composite Index reaches 6,000 points, you must sell everything. Absolutely not to stay. In my previous life, I didn't play stocks either. The reason I know these things is because there was a workshop manager in our factory, in 2008, due to the big crash in the stock market. All his money evaporated, and he also owed a lot of debt. Finally, unable to bear the shock, he jumped to his death. At that time, there was a lot of discussion in the factory, and I heard many people say that they should sell at 6,000 points. Zhong Jie believed me. He looked at the rising stocks day by day and asked me if I was a prophet. Zhong Jie, do you know a flower called snow willow? It is cut and dried in the wind, and everyone thinks it is dead. It can bloom again as long as it is given enough water. I'm not a prophet, just a dead but resurrected snow willow. My energy is still focused on store operations. Our target customer group is young urban women. They have purchasing power and are willing to try. In just 1 year, the store has made great progress. 2008 was a year of soaring growth for Taobao, and also the year when new women's clothing stores exploded. It successfully turned Jiojio's father's factory from the brink of loss to quick profitability. Because I had to balance my studies and work, and often had to run to factories to check samples, I forced myself to get a driver's license and bought a second-hand car. Jio's father kept his promise. And the semi-annual dividends were always paid on time. In the summer of his sophomore year, Song Mu took the college entrance exam. He scored a 211. My parents were so happy that they threw a big banquet and called me to come back and join the celebration. I was wearing a new outfit, sunglasses, and drove a used small car into the village. Everyone was stunned, including my parents. I haven't gone home in these 2 years. Every time they call and ask if I need money, I always say I don't. In their hearts, I probably survive by tutoring part-time. The most surprised are Aunt Tang and Aunt Zhong. The two of them are whispering together. Grandma Tong disdainfully said, "Victoria, students should study hard. You can't take the crooked path." Aunt Zhong also agreed, "We can't earn money that isn't clean." Look, in their eyes, women who make big money can only do so by selling their bodies. Even my parents looked hesitant. "Where did you get all this money? And what are you wearing? The skirt is so short, and this shirt doesn't even have sleeves." Everyone was talking about it. In the end, it was the village secretary's niece, who had come to visit relatives, who came to my rescue. Guess what? That niece is working on the assembly line. I had previously gone to the factory with goods, and she saw me, but there are so many workers, and I don't remember having seen this person. For a moment, the villagers were in an uproar. They all asked me how I managed to make so much money, enviously saying, "I still need to study." Look, even while in college, I was already driving a car and wearing such high-end clothes and shoes. Mom and Dad look radiant. Dad pulled my hand and laughed loudly. "I knew she would be successful long ago. You all told me not to support my daughter's education back then. Now you see, my daughter is really promising." Everyone complimented enthusiastically. The elders in the clan all emotionally blackmailed me. "Since you've made money, you'll be responsible for your younger brother's education from now on. Your family's house is too old. You should pay for your parents to live in a big new house." I can't be bothered. My cousin pulled me aside, wearing a flattering smile. "Your cousin has been at home for years and can't find a job. You're so impressive now. You should arrange something for him." "What does he want to do?" Cousin-in-law patted her thigh. "Of course, sitting in an office, drinking tea and reading newspapers every day. He can't do hard work. He's always been in poor health. As for salary, just give 2,000 yuan a month. He's a proper vocational school graduate too." I laughed. My classmate's family factory actually lacks security guards. With a monthly salary of 800, working in 3 shifts, my cousin is willing to go. I can introduce him. Auntie's face, how ugly it looks, but she no longer dares to point at my nose and scold me like before. Because of our different locations, things are no longer the same. In these 2 years, I have rarely contacted my family, but Song Mu does call me every now and then. We don't have much in common, so whenever I ask if they've eaten or how they've been recently, I just hang up. That night, after the guests had left, Dad said, "Your Debuomen face needs to be relocated. It seems a bit troublesome now. He helped you originally, so you should go see him sometimes." I really don't know how to judge my family. They are selfish and self-interested, but they also know how to be grateful. I went to find Debu the next morning. The bus station has moved, and his small shop's business is not good. He wants to reopen a storefront, but he doesn't have enough money. I gave 80,000. Debo stubbornly refused to accept it. You're just a young girl. Earning this money isn't easy. Quickly keep it well for yourself, to use as a dowry in the future. Please accept it. This is what you deserve. The help you gave me back then far exceeded this amount. If you hadn't lent me a hand when I was at my lowest, I might have already gone to the assembly line by now. After much persuasion, Debo finally accepted it. He wiped his eyes. It's so good. I didn't choose the wrong person. I'm really happy to see you succeed. My parents want me to pay for Song Mu's tuition and living expenses. He refused. I'm a grown man, with hands and feet. Why should a woman support me? She can earn money when she goes to college, can't I? I don't want it. At that moment, I realized he had grown up. Favoritism and indulgence are like aphids on a small tree, accumulated over time. Eventually the sapling will be gnawed away. Although fierce winds and storms can blow the tree askew, only by experiencing such trials can the sapling stand on its own. After that summer vacation, my status changed. Family gatherings. In the past, with many guests, I was not allowed to sit at the table. These days, I must have my own place. The elders in the family always say to the children, if only you could be half as worry-free as Victoria's sister. The aunts and uncles all want to come here to get some benefits. My parents are easily persuaded and occasionally speak well of those relatives. Unfortunately, their words didn't work. One year on the first day of the Lunar New Year, I went to pay my respects to Debo. Mom looked upset. Victoria, do you dislike Mom? It wasn't easy for us back then. Not exactly dislike, it's hard to get close. For the rest of my life, I will do my duty as a daughter, give money when needed, buy things when needed, but my heart does not belong to this family. It also doesn't belong to Mom and Dad. In my senior year of college, Jason Jong got married. His partner is a female worker from his factory. The 26th day of the 12th lunar month, the two of them wearing bright red, cheap wedding dresses, toasting at each table. In the evening, my middle school classmates invited me to join them in celebrating the wedding night. I stood at the door of the new house, watching them play around without any sense of propriety. It was as if I saw myself in a past life. That day I felt very uncomfortable and wanted Jason Jong to stop them. But he said, "It's a day of great happiness. Don't ruin the mood." Later, I took the broom and drove those people away. My mother-in-law scolded me for being inconsiderate. I suddenly felt bored and turned to leave. After taking a few steps, I turned back and slapped him. Damn you, Mama's boy. More and more people are stepping out into the world. But do their ideas really get reshaped? I'm not sure. Light snow is falling from the sky. Jason Jong chased after me. He was drunk, his face red as he stopped me. Victoria, if I had also gone to high school, would you have seen me? No, I would rather never get married than be with you, I replied coldly. Treat your wife well. Stop being a mama's boy. Snowflakes fell on my face, a faint chill. Maybe I will also become his white moonlight. It's because I am good enough and difficult to obtain, so I am qualified to be the white moonlight. When I was about to arrive home, the phone rang. It was Jong Jie who called. I have something I want to tell you. I signed with a big company in Hangzhou, and we will see each other again very soon. Congratulations, Victoria. I look forward to seeing you again. In the night, his tone was gentle. I'll send you a photo. The signal in the village is poor. After a while, a picture appeared in QQ. It is a snow willow inserted into a glass bottle, in full bloom, and Jong Jie's words, they are resilient and beautiful, just like you. Victoria, son.